Hello, everyone. This is Stephanie from the Canadian Schoolhouse, and I'm here with Christine. And we're going to show you a bunch of different stuff that you could do for summer. Now, if you are on our email list, you would have got a great email, right? Just this past Tuesday.
Yep, Tuesday, yesterday.
So,
Summer.
yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it that long ago I saw it? So this email has a lot of stuff we're going to talk about today, right? Like you actually took a lot of those links from that
Yes.
email or the information. Anyway, there's even more there, so go and check it out. If you haven't signed up already, you can just go to our homepage, thecanadianschoolhouse.com, and you'll see the sign up for the e-blast list there, for the email list there. And then you can get our weekly. So we just send it out once a week, Tuesdays, and it's just filled with all kinds of stuff you would probably be interested in from time to time. We just have so much there that's covering everything we do as homeschoolers. So we want you to be part of that, and we also want to hear from you. So know that if you're on that email list, you can always just reply to that email list. Let us know anything, whether it pertains to the content there or just maybe something you'd like to see in our email list or our live streams or anything you feel like you need support with as a home educating parent. And we would love to create content, create a video, create anything that that you would like to see. So our next slide, I want you to talk about the summer challenge because you know it a little bit better than I do. I have participated a little bit, but you go on and, well, because first we're going to talk about this summer challenge and it's just for Schoolhouse Teachers members. I mean, I guess it's not just for them, but you're not going to be able to see the details.
You have to, yeah. I mean, you could participate if you wanted to using the hashtag ST. It's on the little graphic here, ST Summer 22. And so if you're on Instagram or Facebook, just use the hashtag. Just know if you're on Instagram, you need to have a public account. Otherwise, we won't be able to see it if you post anything. So, but if you are a member, we've got some cute badges that you can print off and then take your photos wherever you go. And so we've got, what we're challenging you to do is to go visit some historic sites nearby, or maybe you need to take a little road trip, or if you already planned a road trip, take those badges with you and definitely share your journeys with us. And the other challenge is to keep reading through the summer. So we've got a reading challenge. And we've also created, and you'll find all of this if you're a member in your member dashboard. You can print the badges and a reading tracker or an activity tracker. So whether you decide, you're doing your road trips and you're taking trips around the city or the country, definitely take those with you and keep track of it, and then snap a picture as you go and keep us updated on your journey, whether you're reading or you're visiting places. And so, yeah, we just want to get you moving, get you still learning and having fun at the same time. So we've got a few entries already, posts, I guess. It's not really entries. So we're excited. It's open it opened back in the 1st of this month, and we're running all the way till August 31st. So you've got lots of time. If you haven't thought of anything and you want to participate, you still got lots of time. So we're looking forward to seeing all the posts coming in.
Mm-hmm. I think this is a great activity. Like for me as a homeschool mom, it just gives me that little motivation to, for one thing, try to bring my camera around. Like I'm bad at taking pictures. So we recently moved to Saskatchewan. So we've got all kinds of stuff that we, see, oh, that'll be neat to explore. There's even in Swift Current, which I'm about 45 minutes from, but that's my closest like bigger city. And there's like, I don't know, there's like 2 or 3 museums just in that little city there. So I'm looking forward to checking those out. But we went to the Saskatchewan Landing Provincial Park. And that was awesome. So it is a provincial park, like it has the camping, and we went there mainly to go fishing, see if we could find a good fishing spot there. But actually there was some heritage. There was like an old home there. There was like something to do with the railway. So I snapped some pictures there, and that was kind of fun to do. So it's actually helping me take pictures of our family moments because I'm like, oh, maybe I'll get these in for the Schoolhouse Teachers Summer Challenge. But I have one question that
Mhm.
I just don't know how to use these. So, well, why don't you make me big screen there, Christine, and then I'll show all these things that you were talking about. So the activity tractors and the badges. I printed this off, and it should be a full page, but I had my printer on like 75%, and it took me a little bit to figure that out. Like, why is this printing so small? Anyway, that was my fault. That's not, it will actually take the whole page, right? And then there'll be 4 badges to a page. But what do I use the badges for? What's the connection there? What's the purpose?
So that is just so that you can take with you and put it in your picture. So hold it up when you're taking a picture.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so
Yeah.
that just helps you identify that you're, participating in this challenge. So yeah, it just definitely, if you're reading a book, take a picture with the book and the badge,
Uh-huh.
and
Okay.
put your hashtag ST Summer Challenge. It helps that the image has the hashtag in it. So
Yeah.
and then if you're snapping a picture in front of a historical monument or something, just hold up your badge, and so we gave you 4 just in case, so you can share it with everybody, can have one, or if you lose
Yeah.
one, you have extras. So
So these are the activity trackers. So they look like this. I actually didn't, because I asked my boys, like, which one do you want? Because you kind of have the adult one, and
yes,
then I think you call it like a
student.
student one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So this is the adult one or the student one?
I think, does it say on there? I can't remember now which one was
Uh,
which. I think that one is the
no, it
adult
doesn't.
one. I
Yeah,
think that
I
one is
can't
the
really
adult one.
remember what the other one looked like now, even. But anyway,
Uh,
this is, and you can pretty much do whatever you want with it, I guess. Like I think maybe the details said to just make a note in it, right, of the activity. So
yeah.
we
So
put Saskatchewan Landing or something. Or maybe even like I want my boys to do to actually, okay, so what was I'm gonna have to look at the pictures because I don't even remember, but it was somebody's name. So it was the name of that guy, and he did something with the railway. So when railway was for one thing, that was a big part of transportation. But when it was just beginning, right? So it was a stop on the railway where, again, I'm lost at that. We're gonna have to review our pictures, read the little marker, the little historical marker there, right? So they're all over. Well, they're probably all over the world, these kind of things. But the plaques you usually see at historical places, and gives you all that information. So
I
I
usually take
purposely took
a
a
picture of
picture
it.
of them
Yeah.
just so I'd remember like myself. So anyway, I'll sit down with my boys and get us to do this one. And then I did print out 2 of the reading tracker ones. So this one
Yes.
is one of them. So it's really just about coloring in the books. Although I'll probably have the boys just do something. This one I think was more the kid one, right?
Yeah.
The student one, and
Yeah.
then the other one was the adult one. So
Yeah.
we'll plan to
Yeah,
fill
you
those in as
have fun
well.
with it. Like, you make it your own,
Mm,
and I mean, we kept it simple. Just color in one book as you read it, or it doesn't even have to book. Depending on your age, you decide. So if you want to have a goal of how many pages or
yeah.
how many chapters, depending on the age of your kids, you decide what your challenge is going to be, because it's a challenge, right? So
Mhm.
challenge yourself to read a certain amount of chapters for the summer, and then you check it off, and mark it down, how you like on that activity tracker, and use it how you like, color it, paint it, whatever,
Mhm.
or use stickers if you want to
Oh yeah, that's another good
keep
idea.
track. Yeah.
I was thinking of different things to do with it. So although I could just do simply coloring it, I'm like, what's gonna like maybe do a little bit more in the not even just learning, but my boys kind of using that as like your achievement tracker, right? Like,
Yeah, exactly.
okay, I've read these many books and whatever, we've gone to these places, and this is little words in there that they or get them to draw pictures, and so anyway, uh, we'll
They
probably
can
find it.
even, create a little booklet, have a booklet, and
Ah,
just write their little, like, a journal entry every day if they wanted to.
yeah. I got my boys back into doing that recently, a journal entry. So I say like and I keep it open. And my main purpose for it, so journal entries, here's a little like just home learning idea for you. I get them to do journal entries for probably about 3 reasons, maybe more. I'll come up as I'm talking about it, but I do it for one. I journal entries, how I do them. I want them to work on their sentence structure, right? So I'm not picky about spelling for the most part. Sometimes I nitpick about that. I'm not so picky about spelling, but I want it to be a coherent sentence. So that's one thing I'm working on it with them, right? So then I'm also I get them to read it aloud. So that's getting them practice reading something aloud. And I find, even as I work with, I don't know if you find that too, Christine, like my both of my kids, but especially my youngest one, he could talk forever.
Yes.
He could talk about things he's doing, about things he's thinking, about, like,
Yeah.
he is a real talker, right? And he
Yeah.
can explain things really in depth with great detail too. But to write them down is like, his sentences are
Runs away from
very,
the pencil. Yes.
yeah, yeah. So anyway, that's so I'm trying to, as I'm, he's reading them out loud, and even as he's creating the sentences, I'm like, when you talk, you don't talk in these short sentences that almost don't really have any relation to each other. Well,
Yeah.
sometimes his mind hops to something else and he
True.
goes, but I think that happens to me too. So but so I'm really trying to get him to be like, writing is so much like we're talking, and try to get them more at ease with writing. And journal entries are a great way to do that. And that's it, like, actually the summer challenge is a really good way to for me to incorporate a little bit
Mhm.
more interest, right? As I'm getting motivated to, okay, well, let's fill in all this stuff we're going to do in the summer, all this stuff we do, like just the reading and the places that we're going to, then it's giving a little bit more content, I guess, for their journal entries, and hopefully getting them to make really nice paragraphs. That's where
Mm.
my focus is, with just like one paragraph um, that's related information in it, right? Not just like, oh, and I went and fed the goats, and dad was working on the roof, and so that's a little bit something, how, like, just completely unrelated, right? So anyway, there's a little thing to just get, and I really just have a limit, because, yeah, as you say, right, like, run away from the pen or pencil. But it is my older one, I'm like, okay, 6 sentences, and my younger one, 4 sentences. So I just make it a minimum like that. So there's a cool little tip for just summer, and it's still like learning, because I'm one of those people that learn all the way through. Well, I should say
Yeah.
we're one of those families. And I do it a little bit selfishly, for my own reason, because I can't take a break. And, like, it'll take me 2 months just to get back into the routine of doing
That's right.
learning. Now, if I
That's
just
right.
take a week or 2 off, actually, because we moved, and it was a pretty big move. We moved from Ontario to Saskatchewan, and we moved in a lot more properties, so we're establishing some things, and of course, gardening time, right? Springtime, we're lots of time in the garden, right? We really haven't done learning for, we're working on it this week, and a little erratically, really erratically, and probably a whole month where we didn't do anything. And even with that, I know I moved locations, we moved homes, and so we have a whole new space to learn in. But even that month of time, right, really threw me off, and it throws them off too. So I guess that's probably the more important thing, right? I don't think it's beneficial for um, my boys or anybody to stop that kind of regular routine of learning. But the summertime, though, is great times to do something different, and we can all
Mhm.
so we still do some of our bookwork stuff, right? I still have them sit down, and it doesn't take them long, so it's not a lengthy process. And then the stuff that we do together, or that the boys do together, is a little bit more like outside focused, or playing games more, or a little bit where I'm directing them, but I'm also giving them freedom. And the summertime, you just got so many different things to do. So let's move on to some of those articles. Like, I like that backyard adventures one. Um, and do you know that one? We can maybe pop that link in there.
Well, I was
Um,
actually, since you were talking about schooling through summer, I was going to put our article for that, just
oh
in
yeah,
case
that's right.
just in case you wanted to, look or investigate more about schooling through summer and what it can look like. Because obviously, no one wants to think about doing regular school through summer because summer is supposed to be fun. But you can combine the two and still have fun, but keep their brains going. So
Mhm.
I'll just drop that article in there first.
And that article, I actually did just take a look at that one yesterday, and there's a little, it's just, I don't know how many sections there might be, but it's just a little section of, okay, it's a great time to do unit studies, especially if you don't really do them regularly, like unit studies, and maybe you'll find that'll be a thing to do all throughout your year of learning, that you can take unit studies out of just like nature is, we're just out in it so much more, and there's so much more opportunities to just doing things, observing and even recording, and yeah, all kinds of things with unit studies. And then we've got and then oh, what else is on there? I could go and click that link there, I guess, but do you know right off?
um, I think I wrote that one.
Yeah, I think so too, but that was from last year, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's definitely what you said, unit study, and you talked about journal writing, which is the perfect summertime is the perfect way to incorporate. You're still thinking about what you're doing, and you're showing comprehension, and you're writing your sentences, and getting your penmanship practice in, and all of that stuff. So yeah, definitely journal writing. Um, Morning baskets,
Oh
reading,
yeah.
you can read anytime. I always tell, like, I have a little note. We have our schedule, what we do Monday to Friday, but underneath I have read every day. So like, and the sky's the limit to that. Like, these guys get little magazines sometimes, every quarter. So they can read those, or you could read something online. When we've got bookshelves too. So pick your favorite book. It doesn't matter. I don't put any rules on that, as long as you read something every day. Do
Mm-hmm.
they do that all the time? Not really, but we're getting there.
Yeah, it's a
uh,
process.
it is a process. And yeah, then we're talking about going on an adventure. So we'll talk about more about that. Backyard adventures. I actually put the link in there already. Um, and just learning, using what you learned, right, throughout the year. Like, you can do like a special topic, or something. I always say that summertime is the best time to do something that they wanted to learn. um so like right now we're hoping to get to the science. We have a science center here in Toronto, and
Mm-hmm.
we're current both of them. I kind of magically got them both on the same sort of topic, for science, so that we're all learning about the human body, which works out great. So as we wrap up, I think we're almost just maybe 2 more weeks, and then hopefully we can just take a trip, and then it'll be an adventure, right? We'll go see, and then you're going to see what we learned and learn more about it. But it's in a fun place. We're going outside of the house. We're going to this new
Mm-hmm.
place, and there's going to be other things. And you make a day of it. Go someplace special for lunch that day, um, to talk about what we learned. And yeah, you can do cooking or baking classes. Get them in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Summertime is a great time to start, experiment with those new recipes, and
Yeah.
and and you're making memories too, right? So you're learning, but you're making memories.
Mm-hmm. Best combination right there. I like the one here for the book to movie marathon, because my boys would be, and there's so much we can do with that one too. Having yeah, there's so many books that have been made into movies, right? Um, that you get that motivation of reading the book. And
Hmm.
sometimes it's good to watch the movie first. I'm not always against that. I know sometimes it's better the other way around, but if that seems like more motivating, okay, we're going to watch this movie and then here's the book and then we're going to read, and and then you guys read the book or read them together. I love reading. I love reading aloud. I actually love being read to as well. I love just
Uh,
listening, right? I have a lot of audio books, and not just like audiobooks, but anyway, like stories that are read out and dramatically because I like and when I read too, I'm generally quite dramatic, right? Like make the voices and depending on this sentence and the punctuation, I really bring that home with
good.
my voice and the way I'm speaking, right? So the reading together as a family, don't ever think that your kids are too young, sorry, too
Too
old
old.
to read to. Um, because reading to like I kind of think it's a good bonding time. Even when we certainly when we sit down and read the Bible, and usually we'll go around and we'll all read a little bit there. Um, but it's just a time when you're all sitting together and you're reading and you can like so that you're getting the conversation as well, so you're getting you're getting that story into them, you're getting to read that story, and even a story that's just like a fiction story, right? Like just a novel, a book or something, that can go around too depending on the age of your kids, right? Give them the opportunity to try and read like I do, maybe not necessarily like I do, but maybe as you do as a parent. But I would love. I have not got my kids trained in any. They read and it's almost very monotone. Like, can you make it a little bit more like there is punctuation in a sentence for a reason? Read it that way. But they're not there yet. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna love them where they're at and then teach them
Well,
hopefully.
as long as you keep, I think if you keep, you know, s- being that example for them when you read and they hear it, then I'm sure they'll notice one day, wow, I read kind of boring. Like, let me, and
Yeah, just make it more
maybe not
fun.
doing the voices in their head because I know I do
Uh-huh.
that. I may not do voices all the time, but and I know for sure I'm always doing voices in my head when I'm reading. So, but maybe they're doing it in their heads.
Uh-huh. All right, so what's next? We got a back. You want to do the
The
backyard
backyard,
adventures one?
yeah, backyard summer adventures.
That one was a good
So
one. I remember that one from last year too, right? Maybe you wrote
yeah,
that one as well.
yeah.
That that had some neat stuff in it.
Oh yeah, maybe. Um, it was so long ago. I feel. So just having fun with your family, and you don't have to go far. Like I know. There are families out there that, summertime they have already booked their cruise or their trip,
Mhm.
and that's their thing. They go away as a family, and that's their thing. And we don't always go. So it's always nice to visit around where you are. But like if your family, if it works for your family, you can do just about anything in your backyard.
Uh-huh.
And so that article that I just put in there will give you a few ideas, like a themed barbecue party. So like if you were studying a specific time period, or you were studying a country, for example, for your geography class. Um, have a theme, and use some of the things that you learned, or just pick something that you think would be fun, and then like would be brand new, and hey, let's learn about Mexican culture, let's have a Mexican party. And then yes, you do and you don't have to think very hard about it, but you just introduce them to
Yeah.
some, what's a piñata, why do they do the piñatas, and what are tacos, and you know whatever you want. And then
Mhm.
have fun creating recipes and deciding on what you want to try, and like the sky's the limit for those kinds of things.
Yeah.
um you can do a camping night, do the whole stories around the campfire, if you can do a fire in your backyard, or just around your little grill there and you roast marshmallows.
Hmm.
um, Obviously water fun is great for summertime,
Uh-huh.
especially
Oh, like
now
all
we're
kinds of
going
different
through.
stuff to do with water.
Yeah, we're going through a heat wave right now, so
Yeah.
anything to cool us down would be great. And there's some ideas in there. And then, yeah, just along the lines of the movie thing. You could do an outdoor movie. I know a lot of people, get that projector outside and they just drop a little curtain over their fence and they've got an outdoor backyard. And
yeah, I'd love to do that. We talked about that a few times, but I've never done
yeah,
that
do you have
outside
a
yet. But
projector?
like the projector, no. But I'd love to get one. And I was researching them not too long ago, actually, and I was like surprised at how cheap they were. Like
Yeah,
they were like
they've come down.
I don't
Yeah,
know, around a
they've
hundred
come
or
down in prices now, so it's
yeah,
it's not too bad. Just go shopping and look for a good deal on one, and yeah.
yeah, uh-huh.
And yeah, then there's a few do-it-yourself, build your own obstacle course, the
Yeah.
things you can get at the dollar store. So like obviously those are some ideas that you can do. And again, like your kids, your family, if you're competitive, you can go
Mm.
sky's the limit for your obstacle course, or just create a little park type thing in your own backyard.
And for those older kids, get them to create something like
Yeah.
so give them, you've got a great video on here that it's the dollar store backyard obstacle course, right?
Yeah.
So it's, read that or watch that, get your kids to watch it. Don't do exactly what the video is, but use that as that inspiration to get your kids. So mine are 11 and 14, right? Totally old enough for them to do all kinds of stuff. And you know what? We are out on property. We've got 50 acres. Not that they need to go the whole 50 acres, but we've got lots
Yeah.
of stuff and
Hey.
lots of stuff that was actually left here when we moved in. And
Oh
some
no.
of it just garbage we got rid of, right? But some of it it's just like, oh yeah, well, this is neat. We'll keep this and we'll keep this. So I plan to have them do that. I might even have them do that today. I don't think it's going to be a rainy day. We've had a lot of rain the last couple of days, which has been awesome.
Oh.
We needed rain. So I think we've got some clear skies for a little bit. So as long as it's not too windy, which in Saskatchewan, for those of you that live in Saskatchewan, you're already privy to this, but I did not realize the big difference in the weather. I mean, it's still summer here. It's still warm, but the wind that is here, and I might feel it more. I don't know if I feel it more because we're out in the grid, like we're out in the country. We've got mostly fields around us, and so the wind goes through. But the wind certainly makes badminton was one of our favorite things to do in the backyard, and we still haven't set up the badminton net, but I still want to do that though. But just the wind here is making us think of different things, different things to do, right? That backyard kind of stuff, or the back 40 kind of stuff that we'll do. I'll also say I wanted to mention that archery is a great thing. So we both have
Oh,
a
you
bow.
got
So
space
my
for
husband
that.
and I both have a bow, and the boys actually they have not great bows. They're just like the kiddie bows, right? But I want to get eventually, like I have a compound bow, and my husband has a crossbow, and mainly we got
Ooh.
it for the reason of hunting. But whether or not we'll do much into hunting here, we're raising so many animals. I don't the interest in hunting for me has kind of dwindled away, but archery is a pretty awesome sport, and it's really good to get the kids focused on hitting that bag. I actually love doing it, so it's a great family thing. So we've actually set up a range, I guess, like the
Very
target
cool.
area. So we've got it set up for even a few different areas. So there's almost kind of like the obstacle course idea where you're setting up something um it in your yard for activity, and if you can set up something that kind of stays there and you just need to go and show up, that's even better. Because I find for me, I'm a little bit of a lazy parent that way. I find for me, like if I have to do a lot of like setting up and planning for something, it
I
doesn't get
won't do it.
much.
I'm with
And
you.
I'm glad you're in
I'm
that
with
same
you.
boat. But I will spend the time. I'll spend a day setting up something that we will use for months and months. Like
Yeah. And that's
I enjoy
practical,
that
right?
kind of project, right? But
Yeah.
huh.
Yeah, so I put just on the line, since we were talking about creating your own thing. There was another article written by, I believe, Kristen, Family Backyard Olympics. So
I
that
don't
is,
remember this one. Was this? Well, it must have been this. It wasn't this year yet.
no, I think it was
Just
last
last
year
year.
too. Yeah,
This
we
is
we had
cool.
all kinds of summer adventures last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was so that create your own summer Olympics right in your backyard.
Yeah.
That'll give you a whole bunch of ideas for that.
Yeah, that would be kind of a fun thing. So talking about lots with like water balloon volleyball. I'm just gonna say at the four that are here, there's the frisbee water relay race. That one kind of sounds. Where does the water come in? One large container filled with water per team, like a large bucket or medium-sized garbage can would work. They're placed where all the team members are lined up, and a tall, narrow container at the end per team. Each team fills okay, you fill the frisbee with amount of water and then try to run to the end and pour it in the other container. That's neat, using a frisbee that way. So you're not like tossing the frisbee, you're using it as your, well, that's
As a
neat. I'm
bucket,
gonna try
sort
that
of, yeah.
one. Or I don't know, I might find something else than a frisbee. I don't think we have one. The
Sure, you
crab
can get
walk
one at the
race.
dollar store.
Yeah, they're easy enough to find for sure. And water balloon toss. So that's some good ideas for you.
Hmm.
For the Olympics, for your backyard Olympics. And yeah, you could make that really for you moms out there that are just love the whole organizing and planning and get right into that. This would be like a great day to plan, and you can get your record and have your running, much like they do in the Olympics, right? How you have your running tally of who's in first and who's winning, figure out a point system or something like that, right? And
Yeah.
that's something to do with your kids, right? You can organize that all together. So
Hmm.
very cool. All right, so I want to show the magazine because we, of course, it's summer, so we have a lot about. So this is our summer magazine, and we don't have specifically. I know we have summer. It doesn't say it right on our cover, but I just want to shout out a few things we have specifically that could help you with what you're doing in the summer. Oh, you know what? I have been reading so much of unschooling. It just seems like articles I'm reading and homeschooling parents, right? They're talking more about that unschooling approach. And I'll say we're kind of like that ourselves. I do sometimes with unschooling they won't even really have curriculum books. I mean, the kids are still learning to read and still doing math, but it's really more applicable. I've never known anybody personally that really went the complete unschooling approach. But I've read about that. For me, I need a little bit more structure than that. Otherwise, my kids wouldn't learn how to read. They wouldn't learn their basic math stuff. So I need a little bit of a curriculum. But I change up our curriculum regularly. Like when I find this type of course isn't working well, I go to something else. Great thing that Schoolhouse Teachers is for, because there's, even with math, there's quite a lot of different um, math courses there, and
Hmm.
different lesson designers that are creating these. So it's not even, if you find a format wasn't well, right, which is how I find when I want to change something. It's like, this format just does not seem to be working well. Either it's not working well for me to be able to
Or
review their
yeah.
work, or it's not working well for them, just their learning style, right? And then
Hmm.
sometimes I just change things up for, like, all right, you finished this one, let's do a different kind of math thing. Like I'm very unschooling that way. I don't feel any commitment to stick with the same course or type of course, I should say curriculum, I guess, through every age, through every subject.
Hmm.
So we're a little bit that way. But this unschooling and fun schooling, I read that article too, and it is a lot more about the parents' role in it. Anyway, you'll have to go and read that. The fun schooling part was very much, so you don't have to be you can be a really structured you can be a really structured dependent on curriculum, and you're using like the one curriculum, and your every subject is, you can do that, and still these ideas in the fun schooling is great for your summertime. So still getting
Hmm.
some of that learning, and maybe you find, if you're a real you like just everything laid out for you easy, because I mean, I like that too. I just like variety. So I kind of grab at different curriculum as I feel like I need a change, or I feel like the kids need a change. But use the summertime to get in that more casual learning, because then you don't feel like, and I know that feeling. I don't feel that so much anymore, but I know that feeling at one time of feeling like, oh, my boys should learn this by now and they should know this by now. And, you know, even though I don't really check or care what the curriculum is for the public school system, right? Like there's kind of sometimes conversations between parents, right, where you sort of like, oh wow, like they're learning that in this grade, should my boys be learning that at this grade? Now again, I've gotten over that. Now I realize, you know, God created us all differently, and my boys are learning great at wherever they are. And I think the most important thing, as long as they know how to communicate well, like reading and writing, and as long as they have a real basic foundation, maybe a little bit beyond basic, because we're doing algebra, and that's hard for me. I've looked up at the answers more times than I have for anything else. And I think just I was really good at math too. Like numbers just work well in my head. But I as a student going through school, right, that's where I was getting 90s and A's and everything like that. But I don't know, my older mind here is not taking in algebra very well. And needless
Well,
to say,
'cause I think
my son
you're
doesn't.
just like, after you finish it, you're just like, okay, I'm never gonna have to use that ever again. So you kind of put it off to the side, and then, oh, look, your children have to learn it, and you're like, where was that again?
Yeah, how did that work out? Now, algebra though is actually really applicable, and so I'm doing that. We're doing that pre-algebra schoolhouse teachers course, which you wouldn't have. That's older than both your boys now, so you wouldn't have
Yeah,
that. But
not there
it
yet.
it is a really good course, because within that course they're of course doing the step by step, but you know, we've gone through a few things where they're giving, you know, problem solving, so giving real situations just in general life, like it's not, but giving situations where, yeah, to be good, you don't always know the number, and you got to figure out that number, you know, these other variables, right, you know, the other uh part of the story, right, of the
Mhm.
situation. So you've got some numbers you can work with, but you don't always know what one number is. All right, so let's do an equation. We'll put in X or A or B or whatever letter you feel like, and make it work. Now, I agree with you though. Like for me, I've never really used algebra. I can't say I've really ever used it. A little bit, maybe doing the do it like duplicating recipes or something like that. Sometimes that works well.
Mhm.
Technically, it's an algebra thing. We just do it in our heads, right? So
Yeah.
we don't actually make an X or an A or something. You just like kind of figure out the recipe and how that works together. But let me see what else is here for anything that comes to your mind from the summer magazine that's especially good for um, parents to do during the school or
Well,
during the
I
summer.
mean, there was one from the family to. Oh no, wait. The family togetherness one is in the bonus digital content. Just so you know that this issue comes with some bonus digital content that you can get in the
Mhm.
digital magazine, and you'll see that I've got the links there on the bottom of the screen here. TOS2smagazine.com, or download the app. So you'll find a new section in there, family togetherness, and there's one that's called Family Living is a team sport, reaching cooperative goals during a theme week. So that's something that you can try. Um, Again, it's the whole idea of, you know, doing something new. Maybe you had an eye on a unit study, a very short one that you could, you know, do for the week, and then make it fun, make it a challenging game that you get points. Maybe incorporate it into your backyard Olympics. And yeah, and then work together, because it's everybody knows family time is happens more at summertime, because you know you've got the more
Yeah.
relaxed schedule,
Mhm.
people vacation time, and so that is the moment where you're spending time with your family and bonding. So whatever you do, whatever you choose, um, it should be incorporating that family time.
Mhm. I will do a little, so yeah, check out all that bonus digital content, and I will do a little, you know, I saw this about the history of medicine, and so we have a whole good section in here on different professions in the medical field. And so I thought, we're in the background, it probably won't be out till at least, I don't know, maybe in July. We'll see. July or August though. We're going to have an article that's going to come out, and it's going to be really about careers. So different, and actually I wanted it to be more on health and wellness. So not just specifically, in the real, I don't know, I guess the mainstream medical, I wouldn't say mainstream, but getting into like nutrition. And so if your kids are interested in health and wellness, helping people live better, like with their physical bodies, right? There's lots of different ways. And I just wanted to get that Canadian spin on it. So that's why we're kind of jumping off some of those articles that came in our magazine. And there's maybe only one that maybe is real specific to the US. As far as that it's sharing, I think they were all from maybe people in those professions, but a paramedic is a paramedic, whether no matter what side of the border you're on, at least for the US and Canada, and I imagine most countries. But we wanted to just give those options. So where do you go and get training in Canada to be a holistic nutritionist or a naturopath, right? Or of course, like go in the whole doctor field or nurse field. That's really easy, kind of in a way to find the Canadian training options for that. So yeah, I don't know what that article is exactly going to be like, but anyway, that's the idea. We wanted to give a little bit of for you homeschooling families that have kids at that age where they're thinking about what they want to do. This will be a great article to check out and see, hey, maybe we want to get into health somehow, and we'll give you lots of options in there. Yeah, so I think that's all we have for today. I'm going to mention a little thing again of how we would really love to hear what you want to see, us do in these live streams. We actually have some really neat interviews coming up. I think our next one, right, is an interview with an author. So a children's book author. So that's going to be pretty fun. And then we have some of our other ones coming up. So we have homeschooling support and connections. Oh, yes. So we'll talk a little bit about some of those support groups. You know what? I might actually have one of our ambassadors come on for that. I haven't talked to you about that yet, Christine, but
no worries.
We might have part of that, like a nice little, we'll talk about our different support and connections we have within the old schoolhouse. Just so many different places where we help people just connect with support groups or with individual people. So that's what our ambassadors are. So hopefully I will get connected and that will work with one of our ambassadors, our Canadian ambassadors, that'll work with them and their schedule to be on for that one.
And then we got the back to school supplement coming out soon, so we can talk about that.
And we've actually even got that. So that back to school supplement, it's just a digital, kind of like our normal magazine, but it's a digital little extra we're putting out with different content, but also the homeschooling and you are not alone. So if you're, especially if you're, I shouldn't say that. I'm just going to say, if you're one of those people that have just been homeschooling, you've really done the public school system and you're just, for some of the reasons, especially in the last 2 or 3 years, you just decided that public school atmosphere is not for your family, and you're homeschooling, you might sort of feel a little bit more pressure than to make this work, and maybe a little bit more alone, not so much alone. Maybe it's alone because you don't have homeschoolers near you, but just alone because you're treading in waters that you're not familiar with. And we all felt that, even if I plan to homeschool my 2 boys here right from birth. And I think you were the same way, right? You kind of had that decision to homeschool right from the beginning. That was part of your parenting plan. But I certainly felt a lot once it came to that time of them being, and I really didn't start anything formal with my older one until he was 7. And then my younger one was like 5 at that time, right? 4 or 5. So just naturally put in stuff with him. But yeah, there's always that thing of sort of feeling like you're alone or you're a little bit confused or you're not sure if they're learning right. And this supplement here is really about inspiring you and motivating you to just grab that confidence that you already have as a parent. Like God already instilled that in you to teach your kids. You did it perfectly for 5 years, thinking of, well, I guess 4 years you could put your child in school now, but they learned so much in those first 4 years of life that pretty much for most of you parents, you taught them everything. And it really doesn't get much more difficult when you're the older they get, because there's so much curriculum and there's so much support out there, and sometimes it's just finding it. So that's what this supplement will be about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then hopefully we'll have some more interviews coming up. Some very interesting people. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, summer learning outdoors. We're gonna have Barbary back for that.
Yeah, we're gonna have Barbary back for that, right? That'll be good. There's an article that she was writing to go along with that, right? That's how we kind of thought of that. I
think so, yes.
That idea, and so she's gonna share about summer learning. I know that's getting maybe near to the end of your kind of thinking summer learning, but just know that these are all good learning tips for any time of the year, really.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're doing school right through, I mean, it's applicable. Doesn't matter. Learning happens all the time anyway. Even if you take that official summer break, you'll still find that you're teaching in some capacity, because it's in our nature, right? As parents, we have to teach them, even if it's not from a specific book, even if it's just something that you've come across while you're grocery shopping, or just life skills that you're passing on through your day-to-day chores. You're always teaching.
Things you're watching, things you're reading, right? It's good opportunity to comment on the stuff that's going on in the world and the values you want to instill in them. It's actually one of the most important things too. I want my boys to have a real strong set of values. And it certainly gets confusing if you have certain values of family and then you go to a building with a bunch of other people and the values are not clear at all there. And most of them are not in line with what parents want for their kids either. It just doesn't happen that way. So that's the whole benefit of that a lot of parents are finding with being able to educate their own kids. There's not that confusing of trying to instill these good character traits and values and focusing on what's important. All right. Well, we will close this one off for today, and we thank you for watching, whether you're watching us live or watching the recording, and feel free. So this is on an event page. Put in some comments there. We come back and check on that. So ask your questions as they come up and post things in there too. I think the event pages are fairly, right? Just anybody can post on them.
Yep, and don't if you've missed any of these live streams, they're all on their own event page. So you just go to our Facebook page and just click on events, and you can scroll through all of the topics that we've covered. And if maybe you had a question about one of them, or you just want to see what the conversation was, just hop in there, post a question, post a comment, or just say hi. We'll come back and say hi.
All right. Well, everybody enjoy your day, and we will see you again. Bye.
Bye.